And then, okay, I'm going to get started. So, for those of you I don't know, my name is Heather Hankemer, and I am the executive director of the CCC Leadership Program. And our program is uh, leadership training for women in nonprofits. So, we have content based upon Marsha Clark's Power of Self program, which was a 19-day in-room over 12 months program, and we have made it so that it's 9 days, so a little less time out of the office, but all the same really great concepts about being your authentic self and leaders. So I will get started here. So this workshop is about the power of gratitude, and I don't know if you're like me. This time of year, I need a reminder. I need a reminder to be grateful and to count my blessings. So we thought this was a perfect I thought this was a perfect thing to tackle right before we go into the big parts of the holiday season. So I love this quote from Oprah Winfrey. Be thankful for what you have. You'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you'll never, ever have enough. So just love that quote from her, and remind us that that when we do stop to think about it, we do have enough. So start here. I'm on page 2, and start with a little bit of kind of what is a practice of gratitude, and what are the benefits, and what does science tell us about the practice of gratitude? There's a quote from a doctor who's the head of the division of psychology at Duke University. And he says, if thankfulness were a drug, it would be the world's best-selling product with a health maintenance indication for every major organ system. So when we practice gratitude and thankfulness, it's really just a powerful drug. So a lot of the work and stuff we're going to be talking about today is from Jay Shetty's book. If you've never read Think Like a Monk, it's such a great book, and he really dives into what it was like for the time he took to practice being a monk and take that time out for himself. So he goes through several different parts. So part 1 of his book is let go, part 2 is grow, and part 3 is give. And so part 3, the give, starts with the practice of gratitude. It's chapter 9, and my favorite part is when you are present in gratitude, you can't be anywhere else. So you can't be negative and positive at the same time, right? So I love that. We know that gratitude it's a mindset. You start off with positive. I can remember, I don't know about y'all, but during the pandemic, I would start every day with the news, and I saw my mindset go from being positive and productive to having a feeling of dread all day. And did some research, and research tells us that when we start our day off with negative, whether it's news or people or thoughts, that is kind of where we are for the rest of the day. So really, one of the things I really try to do is start my day off with something positive and a positive mindset, so that I don't have that negative feeling for the rest of the day. All right, so we're going to go over some of these, and this is where we're going to start putting pen to paper and take some time. We've got a little over 40 minutes here, and take some time to make some space for some gratitude. So the first one on Jay Shetty's list is keeping a gratitude journal. So how many of you, and you can unmute yourself or put in the chat, journal? I definitely journal. Yeah, so I try to journal. Yeah, I get that. And journaling can be a lot of different things. And so I want to encourage you that through this discussion, I'm not asking you to change and add a whole bunch of things to your daily routine. I am just asking and encouraging you to start integrating gratitude and some of these practices into your every day. So for me, journaling happens every morning and at the end of the day. And so in the morning, I try to think of 3 things that I'm grateful for. So let's just take a moment and write down 3 things just for yourself that you're currently grateful for. So it can be a person, it can be a thing. For me, like it's a warm cup of coffee in the morning. It's my favorite markers, right? So these are simple things. So while we're all grateful for our health, if someone said, what are you grateful for? We would rattle off the right things, right? We would say our family, our loved ones, our health, our friends, all the things that we're supposed to say. But when we're really practicing gratitude, we're grateful for the little things. I was telling Elizabeth yesterday, I'm grateful for the pharmacists at Tom Thumb. They're so nice to me and so helpful, and I tell them all the time how grateful I am that they're there. So think about 3 things that you're currently grateful for. So anyone want to add anything to when you journal? So I actually use a guided journal. It's called Daily Greatness. And it's it's a little expensive, but it's a fabulous daily, it's got prompts. Actually a friend recommended it and I've bought it every year since that. So I think I've been using it for 4 or 5 years now. And it does 2 things for me. One, it gets me focused, reminds me to think about every day and really when you write something down, you tend to do it, right? But it includes gratitude in there. So it encourages me to think about what am I grateful for in the morning and in the evening. Would anyone like to share a journal practice? Anything you're doing?
I'll share. Sometimes for me, it's easy to pull out my notes app on my phone if I'm feeling kind of like I'm maybe going down a negative route. I'll just take out my phone and pull up the notes app, put in a date there, and just jot down a few things. And it helps kind of reverse myself out of that bad thought pattern.
I love that. And you bring up like a perfect segue to, so one of the resources I shared was that 11, it's a article from Positive Psychology, and it's 11 apps. So if you're not an old woman like me, you may fall to technology more than you do writing pen and paper. And there's some really great apps. Like I really love Headspace and Calm, and you can set them to also remind you. Because if you're someone who needs, an alarm or a reminder, those apps can be a great, there's free versions, and then you can obviously pay to have more bells and whistles, but really even just to have something. I remember years ago, I used to use this app called Super Better. So this woman who invented it had a traumatic brain injury. She's got a great TED Talk. And so she used her getting her brain better. She gamified it basically, right? So she became her own superhero, and she was doing things along in the game that made her brain better. So I think that's a really cool. I love that. So it's still out there. It's called Super Better, and it's a lot of fun. So if you like games and want to take your mental health that route, that's a really good option. So yeah, thank you, Elizabeth. That's the perfect segue to a lot of this can be digital as well. I'm not as much as a digital person, but a lot of people are. All right, so we talked a little bit about the second one, the practice everyday gratitude. I kind of put an exclamation point on what Elizabeth said about the spiral. We can find ourselves mad at the world, right? And so if we can take a moment and just step back and say, gosh, I'm in a negative headspace. What's something I'm grateful for, and focus on that. So next are the gratitude meditations, and these are directly from the book here. I love he's got a couple that are based in like chants, but one he has is that you just sit and repeat, I am grateful for. So you say, I'm grateful for my morning coffee. I am grateful for a warm shower. I am, so you just kind of keep going, and doing that for 30 to 60 seconds can really get you into a better headspace. How many of you, so I'm going to be really impressed here. How many of you are able to meditate or have a pretty regular meditation practice? Yeah, so some, a little. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know if my brain just moves too fast or whatever, but I have a really hard time meditating. When things get really negative and too much for me, that's when I pull out like a Calm or a Headspace and do a guided meditation. I can't seem to do that on my own. Anne, did you want to add something?
Well, I just wanted to, kind of clarify what you mean when you say meditation, because
Sure.
I think that's, for some people, it's sitting in a lotus position for 2 hours. And for me, it's really more just sitting quietly, contemplating. So I do that every day. So I'll give myself a gold star for that. But as far as any kind of really formal meditation practice, I'm like you, my brain is.
Yeah. And thank you for saying that, because I 100% agree. I think meditation is just being able to be quiet. So being able to, like, I like to sit on the ground, literally on the ground, just because it feels like then I've got nothing, I'm unencumbered, right? I've got, whether I'm sitting cross-legged or up against a wall or whatever, it just feels, and just the simple act of closing my eyes, sometimes to me is meditation, is really just saying, I'm going to be quiet, I'm going to be still, and I'm going to let whatever comes come. And then I try to make sure that I'm quieting my mind, which sometimes works and sometimes does not. Elizabeth, did you want to add something?
I'm going to say, for me, the only time I can really get to that headspace is by doing a yoga flow. And it's only towards the end of that. So the whole time, for me, meditation is not letting my mind go through like 75 different tabs on the internet. Like you have 75 tabs open in my brain. So for me, it's yoga, and it's focusing on my breathing, and it's not letting scattered thoughts through. And then when we get to the end part and we're in, laying on the ground, that's when I feel truly like then I get my 5-minute meditation of just nothing. And it's the only way that I can achieve that.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I wish I was also a good practice of yoga. All these, it's all progress, right? So it's not about being perfect in any of our practices. It's about making progress and recognizing and being self-aware enough to say, I need 5 minutes without anything, or I need to sit and just write and journal. So I think it is a definite practicing and making it a part of your everyday. So next on our list is express gratitude out loud. And I'm a big believer in this one. So this goes to some of the work we do in our program around giving positive feedback. And looking at giving that kind of gratitude as a gift to someone else, right? So I want to talk about giving it, and then 2, also how we receive gratitude. So I think that when we share with someone a very specific, wow, you during that presentation, when they asked the tough questions, you really did a good job of being focused. So giving specific and timely feedback like that can really make someone's day. And so also on the reverse side of that, how good are we at actually receiving feedback like that, right? So how many times do we say, oh, it was nothing, or, it was a team effort or whatnot. So this does two things. One, a lot of the times it may make the person delivering the feedback feel like that the feedback wasn't valid or wanted or appreciated. And two, we're also diminishing our own self-worth in our own eyes. So practice when someone gives you good feedback by first just simply saying thank you, right? Just the simple receiving. And so as we go into this season of giving and all the warm and fuzzy feelings, just think about, just saying thank you and sitting in that moment and being grateful that someone cared enough to give you that feedback. Does anybody have anything, any questions or any kind of comments about expressing gratitude out loud? And you can also do this for yourself. I remember a particularly tough time in my life where I would come home every day and just say out loud, I am building this life. I'm strong and I am capable and I am doing this. So sometimes just saying that out loud for ourselves can be a real gift. All right, well, I'm going to move on to gratitude through service. So what's the saying that if you, I don't even know what it is, if you need help, help someone else, or the concept of, when you're down, that the feeling of helping someone else can really be a game changer. So think about volunteering this time of year, or the toy drives that are going on, and really think about when I volunteer or when I help someone else, even a neighbor. It doesn't even have to be formal volunteering, right? It can just be helping a neighbor or recognizing that a friend might need. We're really good at, as human beings, when someone's in crisis, of saying, what can I do to help you? Instead of asking, what can I do to help you, just do something you think that they may appreciate, right? Deliver a meal, whatever, send them a gift card for mail delivery service, whatever it is. So don't always put it on the other person to ask what they need. Just do it. I think that's a really great way, a great practice. And then the last part, I'm going to ask Sarah to help me out with this one. So this is something that is in Jay Shetty's book, and it's a concept is a gratitude letter. So Sarah, tell us a little bit about what a gratitude letter is and how it's worked for you.
Yeah, so the gratitude of self was a huge kind of challenge for me, because Heather, you kind of brought up already how you that time when things are going hard, right? And you say that, and it's also was part of that receiving feedback and saying something positive to yourself. So definitely been a follower. I do a lot with Jay Shetty, and the gratitude of self letter is basically the elements that I've seen written in it is, what are your strengths? So just kind of sitting down and really stopping and thinking, like, what are some of the things that I'm strong at? What are my strengths that I have? What do you enjoy about your company? Because you're with yourself all the time. So sit down, when you're alone, you are always 24/7, you are with yourself. So what do you enjoy about being around yourself, and acknowledging that? And what do you love about yourself? Just really sit in that process. And then what excites you about yourself? What are you up to? What are you excited about? What are you doing moving forward? And then this letter, when you're writing it, consider putting your own name in it. So My letter that I've written has, Sarah, I love spending time with you. I love how you have the ability to be quiet and listen and be present. But by hearing your name and when you speak it out loud, you're receiving that compliment kind of in a different way. It has a different power and element that comes over it. And for me, I wrote the first time I did this, it was a gift to myself on my 40th birthday. It was something I did for myself. And like, I have it. And it's just like, when Heather reached out to me and I was like, oh yeah, I have this letter, and I sent it over to her because yeah, it's something, and it still resonates parts of it because I'm able to see kind of what I need to hear also. And I spent probably a week in pretty deep meditation, really thinking, going deep into what did I want to really acknowledge about myself when I did that. So it was a very transformative kind of acknowledgement. And it was also on my growth area of the ability to receive a compliment and to acknowledge. And I could then identify, these are things that really matter to me. These elements, this is what I need to hear. And I can provide myself with that too. So that was.
I love that. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, it's so powerful when we can give that gift to ourselves. And when I was reading this book, disclosure, I've known Sarah for really well for the past 5 or 6 years. And I knew that she was the perfect person to talk about, because I knew she'd gone through the Jay Shetty process, and just really talking about when we can give that gratitude to ourselves, like what a gift that is. And also this practice can be used for writing a letter to someone else. Maybe there's someone in your life who fulfills a role that kind of goes unnoticed, whether it's a sister or brother or significant other, or just a dear friend. Doing that can be not only cathartic, but so important, and really just acknowledging what role they fill, and how it helps you. So, any questions or comments about what we've gone over the letter, or any of the I've included on the last page some links to some resources that I love and use, and so would love to hear from any of you that would like to share something that's working for them, or a question that you may have. Okay, I'm gonna start picking on people. So Amanda Bigby, I know that you have an interesting kind of gratitude at a certain time every day, right?
Yes, I do my gratitude journaling publicly. I've done gratitude journaling for a very long time, but I started doing it publicly at the beginning of the pandemic. So in March of 2020. I found myself also, like you, Heather, kind of getting in the drudge of it. Life was rather difficult there for a while. So I started doing my gratitude journaling on Facebook at the end of every day. So I don't do a long entry, but every single day since then. So for about 3 years now, I've posted something I'm grateful for at the end of every day. It helps me end my day on a higher place and calmer, going into my nighttime routines. And I can reflect on the day and find something to be thankful for. So it's been really helpful for me. I started doing it publicly for accountability to it. Because when I was, when you're isolated at home, it's easy to fall out of your practices. So I did it just for accountability for myself, but now it's just a habit. So I've got a little alert on my phone at 8 o'clock every night to remind myself to do my gratitude.
I love that. Thank you for sharing and letting me pick on you.
No, you can always pick on me.
Who else? Who else has kind of a practice of, or something they do, Something we haven't talked about.
I've got one more cheesy one.
Okay.
I only do it in the fall, but I'm trying to figure out a way to do it at other times. In my office space, in the fall, I have a gratitude pumpkin. So everybody who comes to my office is required to tell me something they're thankful for, and we write it on the gratitude pumpkin together. So it's kind of silly, but now everybody knows. So I have people randomly just coming by my office being like, I have something for the pumpkin. So that's kind of fun.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I've seen several places where they recommend having like a gratitude jar, and you write something on a slip of paper and you put it in the jar as a physical kind of reminder of what we're all grateful for. So, oh, is that your pumpkin?
So this is this year's. We did a white one.
That's cool. Is it really a pumpkin though if it's not orange?
Well, it's a gourd.
Just
It's a
kidding.
gratitude gourd.
Oh, Anne.
I have recently begun to express gratitude to me. Like because I know that I can go down the judgment, self-judgment routine. Why did you do that? Why didn't you? And all that kind of stuff. And now it's when I catch myself and I stop or I actually do something well, then I may physically go, way to go, but I verbalize it and I try to say it out loud. And it's made a big difference for me because I find I'm not as verbally self-judgmental and I catch myself a lot quicker.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I think it's so important to say it out loud. I mean, that voice in our head can be our biggest negative cheerleader, right? Like we can really get down there and dig in there and start believing what that voice is telling us. So I think that is I think that's great. I love that. And I think all of this is really, not as it only is it mental health, but it's also how we show up as a leader in our everyday life, whether that's at work or at home or in our community. And we can't pour into others if we don't feel like our tank is full, right? So these practicing gratitude can be such a great way to bolster ourselves and fill our tank. So, and what I also love about this time of the year and why we did it is that there's so many fun opportunities to take advantage and to take time to be grateful, right? So I have a group of friends that we get together between Christmas and the New Year, and we do a practice of naming our year. So, but the first thing we do is we go through the current year. So we'll take 2022 and we'll talk about it and we'll remember it and literally get our calendars out and like write down what kind of happened during the day and put 2022 sort of to bed, right? Celebrate the good, put to rest some of the things that didn't go so well, and really say, okay, that was 2022. Now let's move on. So I'd also, we can send this in an email. It's a free resource. I don't even know. It's like 10 or 12 pages is the guide that we use. And it asks some really interesting questions, not only about the year we just had, but the year we're going into. And so it gives you an opportunity to say, this is my year of. So my words have been expand. 1 year it was progress. So really thinking about like, what does the new year hold and what do I need to, concentrate on? I will also say that if you don't have the discipline of doing something like this, the nonprofit House of Shine does a great Name Your Year workshop that is pretty affordable, and they take you through a really great about an hour long exercise of using the kind of stop, start, continue method. So what do I need to stop? What do I want to continue? and what do I need to stop? And it's a really great exercise in also naming your year. I find having one word, for those of you that do the name your year exercise, I can see you're nodding your heads. That one word seems to pop up, whether I try or not. It's always there. So don't discount taking the end of the year to not only count your blessings but also look forward. So we'll definitely send those links in an email. What else? Anything to add or any questions for the group? I never believe in taking up more time than we need. I hope this has been helpful. Tracy, what's up, my friend?
Well, I just got back from the doctor. So speaking of being grateful for doctors and pharmacists.
Oh no.
Just a little bit of bronchitis, so it's all good.
Okay.
Well, one thing, and I was in my car, so this is why I didn't really say anything. One thing that you've inspired me to add is I tend to really notice number combinations. So, it's 1111, it's 444, it's 222. And up until today, whenever I would notice that, I would call it, a love note from God. And it was just a moment for me to kind of have that little, okay, God, I see you. I know you see me. Thank you so much. But now I'm thinking I want to add to that because I'm already taking that time out to add a moment of gratitude and so do a gratitude practice with those numbers. And so now I'm even more excited. Now I'm like scanning to see, so what time is it? Is it time yet to do? Of course, it'll be a hot minute before it'll be 10:10 will be the next potential opportunity.
Right.
But love that as a way to make that an even deeper practice.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, I can totally see that that's how your mind works. So that's so cool. Yeah, and really, again, I love that you shared that, Tracy, because this is all about what works for you. I don't have an A plus B equals success formula when it comes to integrating these things into our lives, because then I think it sets us up for failure, right? So it sets us up for saying, oh, well, I didn't get it done today, so I'm just not gonna continue doing it, right? So it's really about taking a step back and noticing and practicing when it works for you. So Elizabeth, anything else? We'll send out a couple links now that I've thought of a couple of things, and then let everybody know what the next workshop is. Please let us know if there's something that you would love to for us to touch on, or stuff that's coming up. We try to do things that are relevant to the world around us, right? We firmly believe that our leadership training is a living, breathing thing. That yes, while we have the foundations of leading, from confidence and clarity, the world around us is changing like crazy, and so we are constantly looking for and want to present topics that really resonate and really matter to women in our community. So with that, I will say thank you very much for attending, and we'll be in touch. If we don't see all of you, have a wonderful holiday season, and be grateful for the little things. So have a great day. Thank you for attending today.
Thanks, Heather.
Yeah, thanks,
Bye,
Dan.
everyone.
It's nice to see you.
Good to see you.